Hi, I am Yuki, and today I will be your storyteller. Make yourself comfortable and we'll get right on it. As the scene unrolls, a sense of calm and peace washes over the reader, or so that's what the first impression gives. A narration of a woman reads out loud, "A man appeared in my dreams." The scene cuts to a beautiful view of a bird on a tree before an eye-catching sky. The bird chirps. As it moves on, your eyes lay upon a beautiful view with a clueless girl in the middle, dressed in a pink dress, perfectly fitting the background as the wind brushes over her and she turns around. "Where am I?" she asks. Only the chirping of birds is heard for a moment. Is this a dream? She continues to ask questions, trying to unravel what's going on. A bird lands on her a hand. She is immediately hit with confusion as she takes a closer look to the bird. It seems it is a bird with the face of a rabbit. A handsome man in a blue suit appears. "There you are," he says, scaring the bird away and startling the girl. A few but long seconds go by, the girl in fear and confusion, unknown who the man is, but he waited a long time to meet her, as if he plotted all of this. The girl, still shocked by how handsome he is, cannot take her eyes off him. Hannah awakens from her dream in a small dorm of hers, or at least that is what is assumed of it, her hair messed up and her phone unplugged, annoying her. She rushes to the bathroom to tidy up and get ready for work. A voice calls out to her. As she turns around, it's only her friend Hannah. She greets her, Hannah replying with how they always meet at the same time every day. Hannah invites her friend to a BBQ held by her friends Hieri and Suji, and her. Her friend declines, saying she doesn't have the time to do such, asking if it was because of financial issues, Hannah would pay for her. "It's not that," her friend replies as she dries her face, seemingly offended by the question. "I have a part-time at the pub today." She gives the reason, thus implying she is 21 years old. She looks at Hannah with a smile and thanks her for the invitation. Cut to after the readying up rumble is heard outside. It looks like it's going to rain. Hannah thinks to herself with a worried face, as she doesn't have an umbrella. "I'm what people call a poor college student," she states with a grumpy tone, she thinks to herself, hoping it doesn't rain till she reaches home. But the chances of that are slim, as she goes to her college to attend her classes and then having to go to her job at night. As she completes her work whilst listening in the class, she thinks to herself of her problems, of how she is spending all her time on college and the night job, and yet is still short on money, thus always alone. Packing up as class ends, heading towards the exit, the rumbling of clouds is heard, as she was hoping it wouldn't happen. It started to rain. Her glasses aren't helping much here either. Faced with confusion, she decides it's best to make a run back to her dorm. As she starts to run, she bumps into two friends in the distance walking, falling to the wet ground hard, dirtying herself, and may increase the chances of illness. The day surely isn't going her way. Let's just hope she doesn't point that out. With a face of worry, "Are you okay?" asks the man. He apologizes, seeing her state. His friend insulting her, telling her to watch where she is going. If she could see that well, she wouldn't be wearing glasses, would she be now? She rushes to the women's washroom to check her state. She places her wet books and papers on the counter. "I feel ill. Things aren't looking up." Well, at least she has an excuse to get extra time. She notices her clothes are wet and knees are bleeding, but can't do anything as money is low. But things are only about to get worse. Those aren't even the most of her problems. As she notices the time, she is going to be late for work. As she walks towards the pub, hearing the loud crowds only worry her, entering the building. "You only showing up now?" She hears, noticing it's her boss, only more stress floods over her. She tries to clear the confusion, saying how he told her to come at 7 p.m., the boss filled with rage, shouts, saying how he texted her to come 2 hours early. Taking her phone out of her pocket, he notices it is cracked, apologizing for the mistake, but that does no good, as he is filled with rage, since he has told her to throw that piece of trash out multiple times. Done with her problems, he fires her. "Forget it," he says, saying how she only causes problems. He has overlooked them all out of pity, but there is a clear line on where things should end. You're such a slacker. He insults her one last time. With a look of defeat, she hesitantly puts on her hood and exits the building into the rain once again. As she walks through the rain, thinking about how she needs to think some things through after reaching her room first. You could easily notice her bad state, knees bleeding, soaking wet clothes, and books. As she enters the building, her colleagues notice her. With looks of confusion and worry, ask her what happened to her. Are you okay? You're soaking wet. What happened to your knees? They all hurriedly ask, trying to place the pieces together. Filled with embarrassment, she avoids the questions and dashes to her room. Come and eat. Her friend tries to tell her. As she leaves, they gossip about her. One asks if she is the one with the $250 rent per month, and how they only survived 3 days in that room, implying it has inhumane conditions, especially when it rains, as everything becomes wet. As she enters the room, covering her eyes and giving a big, irritated sigh after checking out the condition of the room and herself, both are the same. She sits on her bleeding knees, trying to convince herself it's not that bad, and it'll all be fine while using a towel to dry the big water puddle on the floor and everywhere else. Small misfortune continuously gnaws on you. Regret stems from the little things. She screams an ouch, snapping back to reality as the pain kicks back in. She once again looks at herself, checking her bleeding knees, soaking clothes, and all, as well as the condition of her room and life. She thinks to herself with deep regret and asks herself what she is doing with her life. Talking to herself as she looks at the ground, she gives herself a deep reality check on how she cannot afford to eat, or even worse, afford simple Band-Aids. Disappointed in herself, it soon turns to self-pity. And when despair is all that is left, it's time for my entrance. A voice of a man is heard in front of her, but she is in such deep thought and self-pity she doesn't even notice, deciding to go to sleep because she is so hungry. As she lifts her head up, she gets startled by the man that suddenly appeared in front of her. An awkward silence erupts between them. It was the same man seen in the dreams, the same handsome man wearing a blue suit. He gives an irritated look, from how she didn't even notice, saying under his breath on how her state is far worse than he expected, but he has to make do of it. He leans in, telling her how her desperation was so strong it was felt underground, implying he is a devil. He takes out a Band-Aid and places it in between his 2 fingers and hands it over to her. Still startled, Hannah doesn't say anything, still startled by his presence. The man explains why he came in person due to how strong the desperation was, whilst removing the plastic from the Band-Aid and putting it on her knees. Man, it seems serious, says the man, after looking at the state of her bleeding knees. He tells her to use the Band-Aid well or it'll leave a scar. Hannah lifts her head to get a good look of the man and asks, leaving long pauses between her words, who the man was. I'm the devil who's come to save you. Hannah, confused, asks what that is even supposed to mean. A knock is heard at the door. As she opens the door, her worried friend asks if it leaked a lot and offers some help while opening the door further. Hannah, not wanting to disclose the fact that a man suddenly appeared in her room, immediately shouts, "No! Wait!" while turning around, but the man disappeared. Hannah is confused but has no choice but to act as if nothing had occurred at all. Her friend tells her to give her all the laundry she has and she'll take care of it, and that she should just wipe the floor. Hannah, still trying to figure out what happened, agrees. The clouds take up the sky again. Rain may pour at any moment as Hannah hangs her laundry on the ropes to dry at the roof of her building. Are you done? The devil says out of nowhere. It's going to rain later. Hannah turns around immediately and is very startled, screaming how he keeps appearing and disappearing out of and into thin air. Disappointed and irritated, the devil face palms and explains to her once again that he isn't a human and is the devil that has come to save you. He explains his offer. He can do anything for her, from making her a billionaire to destroying mankind. He can make come true, but in return, she must pledge her life to him. Or in his terms, a life for a wish. The devil tries to convince her by reminding her of her poor and painful life filled with desperation. He asks in a sinister tone with a smile if she wants to live at the bottom her whole life. Or does she think it'll get better somehow? Hannah continues to listen as he explains that he wants to bring excitement into her life and make it shine. So he asks after a moment, "What is it that you want?" Hannah looks at him for a second, in thought about what she desires. She says, the devil interrupting, trying to really get her into the deal. "Yes, tell me, become a billionaire, the ruler of a harem, whatever you want," thus explaining the riches she really desires in life and getting her on the hook. As the devil explains his offer once again, he stops suddenly with a look of irritation, asking if she is the landlady's son, and how she's been looking confused since he started talking. Hannah replies it's not that. It's simply because she thought he had the master key. Pissed off. The devil asks in a bit of angry, irritated, and pissed tone if she's been simply thinking about that this whole time. The devil smiles again, assuming she doesn't believe him. He showcases his powers in the lightest, increasing the wind and taking one of the clothes Hannah hung on the ropes before into his hands. He shows off about it. Hannah, irritated he did that, she turns around and walks off. The devil, with a very angry tone, asks where she is going. I guess you could say his blood is boiling. Asking why Hannah isn't impressed with his powers, talk about a simp. Hannah teases him with a simple, "Oh, I see now," which enrages the devil, telling her that "I see now" doesn't even begin to cover what he can do. Fed up, he just tells Hannah to hurry up and tell him her wish. Hannah informs the devil that she has no wish. The devil laughs as he assumes she is joking, extending his arm to grab Hannah's shoulder as she walks off, reminding Hannah that even billionaires have wishes, and that she has nothing. As he grabs her shoulder, Hannah, cool as a cucumber, turns her face and looks at the devil in shock about everything that just happened. The devil says that what Hannah said isn't happening, as in he has to give her a wish, talk about a desperate salesman. Hannah suggests a trial period. The devil agrees to give Hannah a free wish that'll last for 3 days, trying to convince her that seeing is believing and that she can decide after the trial period. Hannah repeats how she doesn't have any wishes. The devil, still in disbelief of such, tells her that is impossible and to simply take her time and think it through. The devil once again asks her what she wants. What she wants at the very moment, right there, right now. Hannah, on the hook, finally wishes for ramen and a sandwich. Out of everything she wished for, that. Well, at the end of the day, simple is best. Hannah, excitedly, with a smile, asks if it is really for her. The devil, of course, irritated, tells her that she should have at least wished for a buffet at a fancy hotel, but then says it's probably because she hasn't done it before, obviously trying to insult Hannah. Hannah, not bothered at all, still smiling, says it's fine and appreciates the meal. As the conversation is being said, voices of girls are heard near them, the girls gossiping and wondering who that handsome guy is next to Hannah, assuming he is an actor. Both Hannah and the devil immediately take notice. Hannah seems jealous for a moment. As they are going to exit the building, a rumbling is heard outside. Hannah says it's raining again in a neutral tone. Hannah immediately worries about the laundry, asking the devil what she should do. The devil hands Hannah an umbrella, shocking Hannah as it was pulled out of thin air. Hannah, remembering she already made a wish, says it's okay, but the devil insists and tells Hannah to consider it as a bonus. Hannah accepts the umbrella, but then shifts her attention to the devil, asking what he would do then if she takes the umbrella. The devil, with a sinister smile, reminds Hannah that he doesn't need one in a bragging tone, and insists she takes it. Cut to Hannah in bed, changed from her clothes to pajamas and in sheets, rain dripping into the room as usual, umbrella not closed, put in a standing position, also dripping water onto the floor. Hannah seems to be thinking about something. "I have an umbrella now," she says casually. Well, I mean, what did we expect of her? She doesn't say much. The devil outside, shivering and whimpering in the cold rain, sitting next to a bunch of trash bags, possibly regretting the decision. Chivalry isn't dead, at least. We will continue this story soon. In the meanwhile, you can choose from this exciting stories. See you there.